Okay, so last week we had a look at some pretty cheap villas, or say accommodation options. But today we're coming back to visit a mate of mine who's just moved into his forever Bali home, Dazza and Heather. So let's come through. Welcome to Villa Bronte, and knock knock, open the door. Oh, here we go.
There's a doorbell.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's Bronte.
Bronte. It's Bronte. Bronte.
That's very snobby.
So we are in Seminyak. Very, very busy area for the whole of Seminyak. If you put a drone up over the top, it's pretty much swimming pool next to swimming pool next to swimming pool. And they've just moved in. I don't know if you remember, we met Daz and Heather a few weeks back, or quite a while back now.
Quite a while back.
And they were talking about they'd moved over here from Australia. They're self-funded retirees. And Heather's got multiple sclerosis, so they moved over here while she's still able-bodied, so she can enjoy life, sit back, relax. And since we've been here, since you've been here, the disease has actually been a little bit in remission, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's been really good.
Yeah.
So instead of walking around with wheelchairs and walking sticks and stuff, you're doing really well.
Doing really well, I
Yeah.
hated, yeah.
And it's the good lifestyle, it's the fresh air, it's the warm weather, it's
Yeah.
who knows? It's not being in Australia.
No, true.
But look at this absolutely stunning place they've picked up. Now, the place they were in before was lovely. I think this is twice as good, and apparently it's about half the price that they paid for the last one. So check this out. You've got a beautiful bungalow over there, so you can just sit back, you've got a fan, you can relax, you've got a swimming pool in the middle, 1, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms there, a beautiful open air kitchen. This is probably the atypical villa
Yeah, very
layout.
so, yeah.
They've got a fence up there because their dog loves to go swimming when they're not home. And it's just stunning. It's really, really nicely laid out. It's got some beautiful, now the place didn't look like this when they moved in, I've got to be honest. And if I can grab some video or even some photos, I'll overlay them, so I'll give you a bit of a look at what it did. Now, we've spoken about taking your time, spending a couple of months to get over here. Well, Daz and Heather came over nearly 12 months now, isn't it?
Yeah, 11 months.
11 months ago.
11 months.
And the limited amount of time that they had, they took the first place. Oh, I love this man. Look,
So
he knows me too
Come
well.
to my house, you're going to have a bin tank.
Oh, hang on. Oh, I needed that. So, if you come over here with a limited time, you gotta pick whatever you can afford to get into at the time. Now they've come over here, they've cashed in their superannuation, their 401k, and they've come over here to try to find a lovely place where they can live out the active part of their lives over here in paradise. But they want to have some place where some friends can come over and visit, barbecues and swimming pools and lots of stuff. So they want the luxuries, but they also want a little bit more of the Bali experience. And a lot of these houses have got these giant big open air kitchens, lounge rooms. They're not air conditioned, but they've usually got some beautiful ceiling fans, lovely traditional Balinese architecture combined with modern update building practices. So the first place they were in was basically one big square house with a swimming pool to the side, and it was lovely. It had a massive big kitchen that they never used. So, and it was bloody expensive. It was over $40,000 a year, and literally because there's been such a demand on housing of late, and especially since the conflict over in East Europe kicked off. As we know from last week, from the video that I did the other day at the hotel, there are 295 rooms, of which 99% are from Ukraine or Russia, because there's a lot of younger people who've come over. But at the higher end too, there's been a lot of people from over that part of the world with good money that have come over here and taken a lot of the villas. Now, Daz and Heather were looking for more of a longer term villa because they were paying way more than they were hoping to. So they looked at, how many, about 20 odd villas?
Yeah, initially it was 20, and we took the best of the bad bunch for our initial thing. That was always our plan, to come and have a look.
Yeah.
And then we found this one as much by accident, whilst we were looking at another villa that had popped up, and this one popped up as well. And yeah, we ended up coming in and Yeah, it needed some love, as our French friend said, some love, and we gave it some love, a good coat of paint, and a whole lot of new furniture and new everything that we needed, and it's come up really, really nice.
So
we're really happy.
there's a couple of big important questions here, and we'll get into what you're paying for this place shortly, because you've done an incredible job doing the place up, and I see you've got a fantastic TV there in the background.
I just put that on. I'm putting the footy back on.
So, the first and the really important question or comment is, you guys nearly lost $200,000, and I've spoken about this a couple of times, but
Yep.
these are the two potential victims. And honestly, on the way to seafood on Monday night, someone sent me a text message saying, "Muzz, you're a champion. You've just saved me $260,000."
Yeah.
It is very, very common.
Here we go.
The dog's gone for a swim. It's really, really common over here for the person asking you to sign a contract doesn't necessarily have the right to sign one.
No.
And there is a whole heap of reasons, and you'll have to go back into some videos with me and Frank about leasing and buying property. We explain it in a bit more detail. But you were two potential victims that Frank actually managed to save.
We transferred the money from Australia to our Bali account, ready to pay the deposit the next day when Frank rang us.
So that's not for this place though?
No, that
so
was
you
for
found a
another
nice
property.
villa?
Yeah.
And that was expensive? It was 20-odd thousand or
It
something?
was 20 grand a year, yeah, 200,000.
So you're looking for a 10-year lease?
Yep.
You've got to pay your money up front?
Yep.
So you had to pull all your savings and that out to give to this guy, and he was offshore as well, he's from France.
Yeah.
So you're about to give the money to him, you got hold of Frank and said, "Are we good to go?"
Yeah, Frank was doing the due diligence,
Yep.
and it was literally, we're at the time where we needed to pay the final amount. We paid a deposit, and Frank basically rings me at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and said, "Hold the phone, stop. This guy doesn't have a lease. He's got 1 year left on the lease." So the lease that he had was for one further year. He had only had a 2-year lease. The plan was basically to use the 200 grand that we were giving him to then take a 30-year lease out with the owners.
And
But he
then
didn't
put some
actually
margin
have
on
that
top and all that.
30-year lease. So the last 9 years of our lease, effectively, we didn't have a lease
We didn't
with
have
anybody.
Yeah.
And there
And
was
the
a few
owner
other
could have just walked in at any time and say,
That's
"Sorry,
That's it. We could have walked
refuse
in.
this other guy's
Yeah.
money."
Yeah, if he hadn't have taken that other lease, they could have just walked in on us and said, "You're in our property, get out," because we've paid him for a lease that he didn't.
And not
have.
only it's overseas, so you've got a bigger problem with sovereign rights and sending money internationally and all that sort of stuff, but even just by Bali standards, the chance of getting any money back was...
Oh no, and
Yeah.
that's we owe Frank a lot for that, because if it wasn't for their very, very much diligence of looking at every T and every I that was dotted and crossed.
When I spoke to you about Frank, I said he is anal to a T.
Oh,
to a
he
T.
is, he is.
Look, he's incredibly thorough, and that's what I like about him, because he'll go through the death certificates, the titles, the deeds, the documents, the inheritance, because a lot of the property, 90% of the land here in Bali, I don't know the exact figure, but I know it's very high. Most of the land in Bali is owned by the traditional owners of the land, the Balinese, and they lease it to people to build on top, and those people often lease it on to other people, like Darren. So, okay, you managed to get out of that at the last minute.
Yep.
And then you kept looking for more places to rent. And you found this place. Now, did it look like this?
No, it was very much in need of love. It was that horrible, sort of diarrhea brown colour all through. It was
Had dreadful artwork.
artwork that was just
dreadful
over the top,
furnishings.
typical Bali, artwork over the top.
It was
And
dreadful.
yeah, so we've come in,
Very
we've
young.
repainted literally the whole place.
You've had tradesmen in here for...
Weeks.
6 weeks. It was a 6-week renovation, and that was.
Now, luckily in your case, you had somewhere else to live, because you still got the lease on the other
We've
place.
still got 2 months left on the other villa. We've decided to move into here rather than try and rent out. As a retiree, we can't earn income in Bali, so we don't. So we're stuck with that. We've had some family and some friends stay there. We've got a friend staying there next week. One of our Javanese friends got a daughter coming down from Java, so she's going to stay there. They've got the pool, so that's great for her to spend time with her daughter, and things like that. So for us, this is home now. So we decided to move in once it was livable. We probably moved in 2 weeks too early, and Heather will tell you that with the boys banging and crashing for
tradesmen
2
and
weeks.
stuff hanging around.
That was a bit hard. Yeah.
But you put this in?
Yeah, we put
Yes.
that in. So that was a garden. So full of, a mozzie
Little herb
trap.
garden down the bottom as well?
So yeah, so we put got the herb garden. We've just got
You've got some
guppies
fish
in
in
there.
there as well?
Yeah, guppies in there to get rid of the mosquito
That's
larvae.
lovely.
So
Nice
use
bit
a
of-
bit of brains. They're new gardens. This was covered initially when we moved in, so we.
And you've got a beautiful blind down here so you can roll that down and not get the glare in the
that's
afternoon.
Mainly for the TV,
Yeah.
so we can see the blinds. So
Make the noise. But that's a great idea. So you can just give yourself a little bit of light relief.
And it
And-
makes it cooler.
And you supply the TV?
yeah, the TV. There was a little tiny broken one up there.
There was a postage stamp on the wall.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
couldn't see the footy from this other side of the pool.
Yeah,
So he had his welcome to Bali barbecue, and we're sitting down the other end of the pool saying, what's that thing on the wall over there? Is that a new painting or something? And he's going, shut up. And weeks later, he's gone back, bought himself about the biggest TV he could get.
yeah. Mates like you,
Look,
I don't need enemies.
This is probably a better sized kitchen than the huge one that you had at the other place.
Yeah, and again, we've renovated this. We put the cupboard in over the top,
Right.
so that's new, and we just redid the doors. And it's amazing how talented the guys are here. Like the tradesmen, and I have to use inverted commas because
They've done a
they're
good
a
job, eh?
plumber, an electrician, a carpenter, and a concreter, all in one. But
Yep.
these guys, have come in. They've whitewashed this, really done it. This is a new fridge. We only got this last week. We just, having lived here now for a couple of months, we've realised that we needed a bigger fridge.
Nice.
You need more room for the bintang. So
Now, have you got en-suites in all the rooms?
So all the rooms are with ensuite, which was different to our last villa, which is really only two bedroom with ensuites,
Right.
and then a separate room upstairs. Whereas this one is all bedrooms, all ensuite.
And it's all downstairs.
And it's all downstairs.
You never used the upstairs one, did you?
No, which is really good for Heather, and we extended this out to make it wider.
Right,
We put
so
the
you've done-
awning on, so this awning is new. We're in the process of just adding a little strip just here, just to keep the rain off us when
Just for the flood
we can-
season?
Yeah, well, the rain we've had the last few days has been pretty horrendous.
It has been, hasn't it? But it's just a beautiful area, and you've got a nice shaded, sheltered area there. So, as you put the fish pond in as well?
Yeah, so the koi pond went in. That was just a dead corner that looked really horrible, and I'm a bit of a fish bird freak, so in the end we went, put a koi pond in there. So
Some lilies
we've
and all?
got
Yeah.
some nice koi in there, and it just cleans up the area nicely for us. So
Gives you a nice bit of atmosphere.
yeah, it's
A
good.
nice little hidden clothesline, which is good.
Yeah, we
out
had to
of the
put
way.
that in again. One of the things they don't have in Bali are clotheslines.
Well, they've got someone down the road doing the laundry for
Yeah,
next
that's
to
it.
nothing.
Everybody gets a laundry. Heather likes to do her own laundry, so it's part of. And we've got a cleaner, so that helps us. So.
Okay, so Daz, the obvious question is, how much? And I know I'm going to get people saying, yeah, last week you said this and this way. Every single time you go looking at a different villa, you get a better idea. Now, these guys have looked at 20 or 30 villas. The first question is, how many of those villas were ready to move into straight away?
Pretty much most of the ones we looked at either had tenants that their lease was about to expire or they were available. There seems to be a lot of villas, but the thing that's happening in Bali, we've noticed a lot, and since we've been here for the last 11 months, there's a hell of a lot of people with villas for lease, but they want too much for them.
Yeah, right.
And when you can get a villa that's worth good money, that's my best advice I can give anybody that's looking for a villa here is shop around, don't take the first one you can find. When you see villas that, the villa next door is effectively a carbon copy of this villa in much better condition. It was fully renovated, but it went for twice of what we paid for this.
Wow.
And for the price of our renovation, which wasn't that expensive, it came out pretty well. And the dogs decided to come and join us all wet. So look, I think you've just got to look around. I agree with what you say. The people will say, "Oh, you pay too much," or "Gee, I can get a villa for this much." Well, good luck if you can get a villa for
Absolutely.
$3,500 as good as this, but you're not going to get it for that. In reality, that's
So something of this quality and this size, from what you've seen, what sort of money would you expect to be spending?
30 to 40,000.
Wow.
Australian.
A year?
A year. the way I've worked the rents out effectively, that's 3,000 to 4,000 a month. Times it by 10 gets you yearly. So effectively, if you take a year, you seem to get 2 months for free. That seems to be the rough way. And then the longer the lease, once you get over the 10 years and you start getting to the 20 years, you'll find that'll drop to maybe 15,000 a year rather than 20, just because you've got a longer term lease. So that's.
But that also means that you're responsible for the upkeep generally.
Yeah. So
for 20 odd years.
Yeah, and I think the terminology I use is buying and leasing. The last villa we leased effectively. The owner, who was 5th up the track from the actual original Bali owner. So it was tiered. That person was responsible for everything: garbage, maintenance,
Fridges,
all those sorts of things. Yeah, cleaning was included. The gardener was included. Whereas here, we are responsible for the entire upkeep of this villa. So we sort of more say we've bought this villa, so we bought out somebody else's contract.
Right.
So the actual owners of this villa.
So for the next 10 years, essentially, you own it.
Yeah,
pretty
we've
much.
got an 8-year lease, and so for the next 10 years, we own this villa. If we've got a couple of tiles missing on the roof and we've got a roof leak, we're responsible to fix that, not the owners. And that's the sort of difference between buying, in inverted commas, because as you know, you can't buy here if you're not Indonesian, but leasing, if you lease generally,
like a long-term lease,
your landlord will pay for the repairs.
So you're looking somewhere between 20 and 30,000.
20 to 30, yeah, look, I think these sorts.
What's the starting price for a nice place?
What we've looked at, 20 to 25 is the starting price. It just depends where you are. We're nicely out in a little bit of a village. If you're quite happy to be that little bit, Sunset Road, I call that, they refer to it as the wall, the old Games of Thrones reference, that, north of the wall. We live north of the wall. But
there's a million people in the same basket out here.
Oh, totally. And this is technically Kerobokan where we are. This is the bottom corner of Kerobokan, the very bottom corner.
But you're 3 minutes walk to the supermarket.
Oh, we walk down the street, the supermarket. We've got, where we are on this street here, we have over 40 restaurants. We jump on the bike, we go into Legian where we used to go as tourists, and we've got bars in there that our friends work at, that friends who are owners there, and we go and hang out in the hood in Legian. We get a Gojek. It's $3.50 for a Gojek
so
into Legian. So for us, where we are, and it's beautiful. It's so quiet.
Very quiet.
It is just peaceful.
Apart from the boys.
Apart from the builders next door,
who are just next door. Yeah.
Okay, so you did do a fair bit of renovations.
Yes, we did.
And I believe those renovations run you into probably close to 15 grand, including the TV and the extras and stuff.
Look, the TV, because you guys picked on me, I needed a bigger TV.
I can see who's winning the footy from this. I can even read it.
Yeah, you can see from here.
Yes.
I think Canterbury's actually ahead.
Go the mighty dogs.
There you go. Well, it's worth having that bit extra, like a couple of inches, isn't it?
No, I'm not going to comment on that. My mum might be watching.
So look, if you want to get a cheap apartment or a cheap villa, the two things you're going to have is way more patience than me. And I don't know how you handled it.
We were here for 3 weeks and looking at 20 villas in 3 weeks, and we found the other villa, literally, it was about the 6th villa we looked at. Right. And then we went back to it after.
But there's a lot of time involved in the due diligence and and then weeks and weeks of going through the legal backwards and forwards, trying to get the money through, trying to get contracts signed, trying to get the right people to sign them and all that sort of stuff. So I know that was
and I think
that was a nightmare.
From being overseas and not in Bali is to have your money sorted before you come and do this.
Really?
I can't give you any better advice. We were quite fortunate that we had enough savings to do this, and with everything with Heather, with her MS and then her diagnosis, we bought the other villa as an investment property that we then changed our mind and as we said previously, went okay, 5 weeks time, let's move to Bali. So in 5 weeks we packed up our life in Australia and moved to Bali, and that's been different. But then once we got here, we got this little girl. We've now got a beautiful little cat, and from that we've now established our life in Bali, and so we intend to stay. Certainly, as long as we've got these animals. So,
quick question, if you don't mind. Your weekly budget for food, for expenses, for Gojek and whatever. Do you mind sharing?
We run on $70 a day. So
70 a day.
Yeah. So we run our house back in Australia. We've got a house back in Australia, so we effectively own that, or most of that, and the rent from that. basically funds our food and our
Our
entertainment,
including your beers
expenses.
as well.
Yeah, so when we go out for dinner, we try not to drink a lot when we're out at dinner. Obviously, you're on the bike, so 2 or 3 beers is the max, and then come home and rather drink at home. The extra money that comes out of our savings comes for things like the renovations, the TV, if we want to go on trips and things.
How often do you eat out?
Pretty much every night, to be honest.
night.
Lunch and dinner. We pretty much only eat two a day, twice a day,
Yeah,
don't we?
we don't normally have breakfast. We
No.
might have some tea.
But you don't cook
coffee.
much here?
No.
No, we've got the barbecue, which we've had a couple. We've started having barbecues. The kitchen. It comes down to buying the products to cook. And Heather did a spaghetti bolognese, and she did a big batch of it, and she about six meals worth,
and
and it was like $140. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
By the time you bought
Cheaper
the
to buy it
meat,
down the road.
It was
Yeah.
cheaper to go up the street
It
and
is.
pay $65,000
And
for
you
a spag
don't-
bolage.
And you don't have to cook. You don't have
Yeah.
to wash up. Your kitchen doesn't get hot.
Yeah.
You haven't got all of that. You just go. So we just. I mean, we do have meals in there that we can just heat up, or we can make
Yeah.
some pasta, or we've got the barbecue. We have had a couple of meals at home, but generally speaking,
And do you order out? Do you get Gojek or whatever to bring your food, or
Depends
do
on the
you
weather.
tend to go to the?
If it's raining, we do. We're a bit sooty. I don't like the rain because it gets my hair wet to go to the food. No, we often go out. We sort of coming to Bali for the last 15 years, and we've got restaurants that we go to. We eat at Warong's. We love local food, so we've got some really good friends that we've made here, both expat, Balinese and Indonesian friends. So we'll meet them at a Warong somewhere, and we'll just go and eat Warong food. And you're paying $1.50 to $2.50. Okay, it's
crazy.
a bit spicy, but it's beautiful food. It's amazing food, and
Very
we really
tasty.
enjoy that.
Yep.
And then we've just got our favourite restaurants. It does get to the point, I think, living here, the hardest thing we have, and probably the thing we fight the most about, is what are we going to eat for dinner, or what are we going to eat for lunch. So we try and choose. One chooses dinner, one chooses lunch, or vice versa.
So if you were to take something like this on a month by month basis, it's going to cost twice as much, isn't it?
Yeah, I think if you're going to get this month by month, you're going to probably
You
look
will.
in the 40 to 45 grand for something equivalent, and that's going on the price of what next door went for.
yeah, it was 42,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and we got this for less, for half of that.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're paying, so because you did the renovations and you put 10 grand of your own money plus into the building, into the structure that you'll never get back.
No.
At least it's your TV and your extras. But after 5 or 10 years, when you've finished living here, you've either got the option of extending the lease.
Yep.
Or
And we've actually spoke to the owners about that this morning.
Yeah.
We get on very well with the owners. They own a shop down the end of the gunga
Cool.
that we're on here, and the wife's been through quite a few times,
Yeah.
and they literally cry coming through because we've made so much of an effort to make it a home.
Yeah.
And that's why the
yeah.
boys are doing the renovate, because
So they wanted to clean
ours
that up.
looks so nice.
They want
That looks
to
so
catch up
nice.
now.
And that's where they park all their motorbikes, their motorbike
Yeah.
shop. So they're cleaning up down the side. But it's really lovely that Putu come here this morning, and he was just his first time he's seen it.
Wow.
And he said to me, "Are you going to stay? You're not going to rent it out to someone else?" I said, "This is our home."
So guys, look, the big takeaway from this is, if you're in a hurry, you're never going to get the sort of buying power that you've got if you've got time. If you're not prepared, you don't have your money. One of the things Frank said was, come over here, you can put a deposit, a holding deposit, get all the paperwork and everything done, ship home and get everything done at home. But if you need renovations, if you need a fair bit done, maybe one of you could come and stay over here while you are supervising that, because I think
you have
it's
to
important to have
supervise
someone watching what the
renovations.
builders are up to and
Yeah.
stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
But there's a whole process, so you need to be ready with the money, because if you're not, someone else might be, and they might take it over you. You can get something that could rent for $25,000-$30,000 a year for less than 20 grand if you're going to put a bit of your own money up front, like these guys have done. Same with what I did at my villa. My house was an old boarding house, and we did put a fair bit of our own money in, and we got that for a song, but it's nowhere near as fancy and pretty as this. But if you just come over here and you want to rent something like this for a year, you could be spending thousands of dollars a month,
Yeah.
plus.
Yeah.
Plus.
Plus.
Yep.
But if you've got that sort of money and you want to sit down in paradise, this is the sort of thing you could be waking up to every morning. especially if you fall asleep
That's
on
my
the chair.
coffee
Eddie.
spot. I sit there every morning and have a coffee, and it's just the most beautiful spot to sit here. Sun's behind you, the dog runs around the yard, the cat runs around, the dog tries to jump in the pool.
So big question, no regrets?
None.
No, this has been,
No.
for us, you know, it's been tough. I keep saying, you know, we've had plenty of conversations. It's not all beer and Skittles.
No.
It's tough at times.
And you're a bit OCD and
Oh, I'm very OCD and I struggle with this.
and I struggle with the stupidity of some of the
The way
the system just doesn't work. But it's
It doesn't work.
it's the way the system thinks. It's not the people. The
Yeah.
people here are the most amazing people. Whether Indonesian people are the most amazing people. The Balinese
people are lovely.
You know, literally you just want to cuddle them. They're so beautiful and friendly.
So there you have it, a beautiful villa, your own swimming pool. A bit of time, put a bit of preparation. Yeah, we'll go have a look. Put a bit of preparation into an expectation into the time it's going to take for it to be ready. This is one of the bedrooms, and by the Mickey Mouse, I'd say it's yours.
It's Heather's.
Beautiful ceiling. Now this is air conditioned, plus you've got the fan.
Fan, yeah. We didn't have fans here. None of the rooms had fans, so.
Oh my god,
we
what a
put
beautiful
fans
bed.
in
I
all of it.
actually haven't ever been here before.
This one? No. You've been in the other one, yeah.
So, absolutely lovely. I love this whole outdoor shower bit. It keeps all the steam and the water out there. You've got your own bath. Sit there by the pool or by the pond.
Mozzie Zapper.
Mozzie
Mozzie Zapper, the one
and
thing
a
you
flushing
need
toilet
in
with
the
paper.
That beautiful boy has to make him
Oh, there he
cute.
is. Look at that little baby.
Axel.
Wow, looks like a little leopard.
He does. Yeah, it's beautiful breed. Bengal.
Nice.
Beautiful breed.
So yes, you can make a little life for yourself over here, and you can do it without spending billions, or you can just come over here, jump the gun, not be prepared, and end up spending twice as much. So good luck, and let me know how you go. I'd love to see your journey, and maybe we could put you on one of Muzz's vlogs coming up soon. If you're coming over, just let me know. And if you want to get hold of Frank and Monica, I'll put their email address up below us. And by all means, if you've got any technical questions or personal, legal or immigration or property questions, these are the right people to talk to, because if they don't know the answer, they'll find someone who does. They'll get straight back to you. Cheers, guys.